Besties. Welcome back to the Tana Talks podcast. It is me, Montana Duran, your host, and I am joined today with a very, very special guest. Some would say the podcast wouldn't be possible without her. My very first bestie, my mother. Hi, Tamara.
Hey, Montana.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I don't ever call you Tamara. I'm just going to call you Mom.
That's cool.
I can't believe you said yes.
I'm full of surprises.
When I was talking to Ryan about his, I could tell you were like jealous a little bit. And then when I said, do you want to do it? You just immediately said yes. And I was shocked.
I did. I was pleasantly surprised that you did say yes or ask. And I support what you do. And I'm extremely proud of you.
Well, maybe I was nervous because like I'm very protective over our family. Like I don't let people into our family.
Which is wild because you were the one who said secrets have killed our family. So,
Mom, don't expose me.
No, but it has helped. And in telling our story, which is many, has helped other people. I truly believe that. I've been told that.
I love you. I am. Thank you for saying that. But I honestly don't think this. We should start the podcast. I always start with a question, but before that, I do want to say, like, the way you raised me, I didn't realize until I got out there in the real world. And especially, like, now doing all this entertainment adjacent stuff. And I saw how other people were raised. I'm really thankful for the way you raised me. And I really don't think I would be doing any of the things I'm doing without, you know, the way you supported me and loved me and like told me to go to college, you know. And then when I was moving out of Atlanta, you were like, just come back home and figure it out. And then like I literally would not be in LA without that advice. So I just want to say thank you.
Well, I do appreciate that. And I did you a little bit differently because by the time I had you, I knew of Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit, and I prayed very differently than I did the boys. I pray now for them in the same way, but I did not want you to be me. Not that I was a bad person, but the some of the choices and whatnot, I didn't want that for you, and I did not know about generational sins and curses and all of that, and be careful what you pray for because, girl, you are not me. And I am thankful for that. And I do want you to live your life as much as I tease you about coming home and the distance is sometimes excruciating. I am very thankful and grateful that prayer was answered and you are living your life with no regret.
Tam. Wow. You did always say that. You're like, I just don't want you to be like I want you to be able to be independent and do all this. And like, I think they did work, but sometimes it is a blessing and a curse. I'm like, I don't want to be so independent.
It is, but I know that, you know, my job, which I didn't know, I'm a late, we believed in God and we knew God is great. And now I lay me down to sleep, but knowing how I was supposed to do it later, and knowing that my job is to make you a godly woman and a productive citizen and make good choices before I leave this earth. I know you get mad when I say that, but you know, that's what my job is, not to be your best friend. And I've told you that your whole life.
Well, we are besties.
We are besties, but you know what I'm talking about, girl.
No, this is what bothers me about you.
Okay.
We'll just air it out before. Okay. We'll be having such a great day. We'll be making great memories. We'll be laughing. And then the laughter is just immediately interrupted with my mom being like, remember this when I'm dead. And I'm like, that takes away the joy. Then I think about my mom dying and I'm not having a good time. Why do you do that? Hi, besties. So sorry to interrupt that incredible interview. We're going right back. Don't worry. I just had to come and show you guys something that's really been helping me. You're like, probably like, Montana, why are you in the kitchen? I told you we're getting more intimate in season 4. So no better way to get intimate than to come into my kitchen. If you're following the Instagram, you know I have been having a love-hate relationship with coffee recently, and it's mostly hate because it has betrayed me. Coffee has always been my loyal sidekick. It's been betraying me. It's made me feel super anxious. I drink it because I think it makes me more productive, and honestly, all I do is just want to crawl out of my skin because I'm so anxious. So I've been looking for so many solutions, so many things. nothing's really working. I'm still tired. Caffeine does give you that initial boost, but it doesn't really last long and you just are super anxious all day. You can't sleep. All the things I've been struggling with. I share about them all the time on Instagram. That's why I'm so excited that I found this little shot from Magic Mind. It has completely changed the game for me because it doesn't have any of the negative side effects. It only has positive ones. This is a community full of creatives, and this stuff, when I drink it, it makes me feel so creative. You can use it as a substitute for coffee, or you can use it along with your coffee, because I do still have 1 cup, but I was drinking like 4 cups a day. So I've completely cut my coffee intake. It went out the window. What I love about Magic Mind is that it has all natural ingredients. It has matcha, it has ashwagandha, it has lion's manes. So you feel safe drinking it, whereas coffee, I'm just shaking out of my skin. If you're like me and coffee is making you so anxious, I totally recommend you try Magic Mind, and you can get it at magicmind.com/Tana with code TANA20, and you'll get 56% off your first subscription or 20% off your one-time purchase. That's code TANA20 for 56% off a subscription. Even if you're already a subscriber, you can save on your next subscription payment. I totally recommend it. They have a total full refund if you don't like it, but I don't think that you won't like it. Like, I know you're going to love it because you're my besties and I know what my besties want. So again, it's magicmind.com/Tana with discount code TANA20 for up to 56% off a subscription. Not 55, 56, okay? I'd pick the 30 pack if I were you. That's the best value. I got the subscription and it's changing the game. We're being creative. Okay, I love you. I mean it. Let's go listen to this interview. Bye.
Because a lot of people are shocked or devastated. They can't get over it. Do I want you to cry a bit? Yeah, cry, get over it. And then remember all the silly, crazy, ticked off, remember it all so you can move on and not get stuck in that grief, because I am with Jesus.
Yeah, but now like my 14-year-old nephew is like, yeah, I'll remember that when you're dead. It's like funny, but not funny. Like,
well, trust me, when it's all said and done, you're going to say, dang, I'm glad she did that.
I love you. Okay. We'll start the podcast now, even though it's already been started.
Okay.
I start the podcast every time with a question. And the question is, when is the last time you cried?
It's been not too long ago, but with what we're dealing with here, and I can't exactly remember what it was, but my Sittu, which is grandma in Arabic, told me once that when angels cry, or I don't know if they were crying for you, but she just said when angels cry, they cry straight down. And I can remember it was not too long ago in my room, and I could not stop the tears, but they were streaming straight down. So I knew God was with me because the angel was crying. And so it was just, why are you laughing?
Because
that was good.
Because are you calling yourself an angel?
No, I think the angels cry for you and it cries straight down.
You also told me about tears being words the heart can't say.
Yes, that is true. Because there are some emotions, I'm just going to say, what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Good segue. You're so good at this.
I'm a caregiver for an Alzheimer's patient, and it's my mother. And I didn't know a lot about it. It's a very devastating thing. I follow a lot of people because I don't have the wherewithal to all these things. So, and it's a very lonely disease. It's very devastating, lonely, and you use every emotion you have. But in my case, my mom picks up on sadness. She'll say, "Are you sad? You are sad. Why are you sad?" And so you don't want them to see that and pick up on that. So you tend to push it down. And then a day will come when you're in your room and, the angels cry for you because you don't really know why you're crying. You're doing the best you can. nobody really understands unless you have walked in these shoes. And that's that. But my family, including y'all don't like to see me cry or sad, but I feel God knows when I need it and he gives it to me.
I mean, it's a good release. There's a reason why it's the first question. Yeah. And I just need to say one thing. I love crying. That's why it's the question. I don't always do it. Sometimes, whatever, but whatever. This whole situation is very sad and I don't know how you do it. 'Cause even sometimes like we'll hang up off the phone and I'll have just tears coming down my eyes because like, not just for the situation, but for you having to deal with it, like for everything. Like, so that was a good segue. You're good at this. You're a natural. So that was leading me into, we could sit here for about 6 days and talk about all your story and everything the family's been through, but we don't have enough time for that. So we'll talk about this recent year because it's been 2 years now of you caretaking for our Sittu, which is my grandma. Shout out.
My mom.
Your mom. Shout out. And the first year, well, it was really like 3 years back and forth. The first year was you back and forth between Florida. And then the second year it was her. And now this third year, you recently just, had to quit your job and you're doing this full time. I know that was a huge decision and huge everything, but like, what was it like having to balance everything with like work, her, and then like, what's the transition been like, now not having to work?
Well, I've always prided myself that I've taken care of myself no matter what I'm going through. And for the first time in my life, I had to go on a low dosage of blood pressure medicine and they felt like it was nerves. And you need income.
Yeah.
You need insurance. You need all that. So you do that. She needs you. Since leaving in October, and God really worked that out for me. I realized that I did put her on the back burner rather than my position. And if she didn't get up, then I just let her sleep because I could concentrate on that because of all things. I was in customer service.
Yeah.
And that's very demanding. And they did, however, let me work remote for a lot of that time. So stopping that and doing this full time, she is doing better. We are scheduled like nobody's business. It's like a toddler, you have to revert back to when you guys were little. And I wasn't like hell bent that your schedule had to be, but it was pretty ritual. We do this, we do this, we do this. I know she eats better. I know she sleeps better. I know her attitude is better. I know her overall being is better. Now, fast forward to me. It's so isolating, really, because you don't get interaction. And I have noticed, and if any of my friends see this, they will know this. If I do get the chance to go out, I am like a kid in a candy store.
You have talked to everyone at the mall the other day. You were talking to everybody, even little kids.
And that is not my personality. But you just want interaction. We were born to be, with people, not just in a home. And I'm not saying that it's like a prison, but you are bound to certain degrees because they do sometimes need naps. She has very bad rheumatoid arthritis, so she doesn't want to walk a lot. She does the best that she can. So I'm telling you, I even know it's like I'm watching my body and my mouth and I'm just having a great old time and I can't reel it back in till it's time to get in the car and come home. So I have to apologize for myself when I'm out there. And it's far and few between, but it happens.
Maybe we should see if there's like an Alzheimer's group or something. Y'all can go do something and then you could talk to.
Did mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. But all this kind of happened, in October.
Yeah.
When that happened. So, after the beginning of the year, I will. But I am starting to do things for myself. And with her being on this better schedule with me not working, she does go to bed between 8 and 8:30. Now, I'm usually a 8:30, 9 o'clock, but I will stay up till like 10, maybe 10:30 just to have
free.
Wow,
Time. You're
wow.
living large, staying up late.
So, and I do try to get out here and there, but I haven't mastered putting this aside while I go out there, and I think that's why God has me like the last function I went to with my colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was all over the place. I was like ADHD.
You were zoomies.
I was whatever. I don't know what that is, but
doing the zoomies like
yeah. And I did write an email that I apologize, but it was like,
why did you write an email?
To know that I was sorry that I was all over the place.
Yeah,
you can tell
you are a social person, so I bet I can't even imagine like how isolating it has been to just that soul interaction be the person you're taking care of, and like the conversations, it's having the same conversations over and over and over.
Yeah, it's real tough because it's almost like when a parent wants to tell a child, because I said so.
Yeah.
I said so.
Yeah.
And you can't really, because you just can't.
You do know a lot about it, and I sometimes am like, put the Google away, but I think it has helped you learning about it. What have you learned that's helped you the most?
Let me tell you, I did used to Google, but I don't Google anymore. I follow people that are medical.
Oh, influencers, better.
Yeah. And I will tell you one that I we've always said that my dad was that's where I got my heart from. My mom was like the man, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I follow a man who's taking care of him and his wife and brother are taking care of the dad. She has a lot of their traits. Another lady, I follow Bruce Willis's wife because our hearts are a lot the same. I think like how she talks about it and feels. There's a doctor that I follow, and they give, my biggest thing was trying, and I don't even want to say arguing, but like if just going along and just learning from them, which has helped me because
to go along with it, not try to correct.
That correct is going to get you nowhere except frustrated. And
because I remember in the beginning, she would remember something and be like, oh, see, she remembers, she doesn't have it. And I'm like, no, yeah.
Well, you go back and forth with that. And then that man that wrote that song, there's just a lot of people. And
what is the stare?
It's just you don't know where they're at, and you want to know, like, where is she at? What is going on there? It's a very sad, because you got to remember, you know how strong she was and how independent and everything, and you just don't know, and they don't really know. And then on the soft side of things, when she looks at you and knows that maybe not that you're her daughter, but you're her caregiver, you take care of her, and she says, thank you for taking care of me. I wish you didn't have to do it. And you say, that's what I'm supposed to do. And just a shout out to people. Sometimes your group gets a little bit smaller because most people that that are a caregiver for anything, we know that there are facilities out there, but that's not the first thing we want to hear just because we're venting or sharing, or we know that. Mm-hmm. But I have chosen to do this. I have chosen to take care of her as best I can. And my brother, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm not giving myself something because he's very opinionated. Mm-hmm. We were estranged for a long time. We are very close now. When he came for Thanksgiving, he said, I'm going to tell you something. You downplay what you do. She's getting the best care she could ever get. So God has given me mercy and grace and the wherewithal to do this. He's also given me a really, really, really small circle that I can say whatever I want and it's okay.
That's important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Your inner circle dealing with this is huge.
I mean, in general, you always told me that it's not about how many friends you have. It's about the circle that you keep, and you are who you hang around. You've always said that. But I think especially like in times of adversity, like the people that you surround yourself with is so important.
Right.
Because too, I bet you it is a beautiful thing to like be able to, she's done so much for you to be able to sit here and give back. I'm sure it's like a thankless job. And sometimes, trust me, I know she can be mean, bad, but it is beautiful.
Let me tell you, this is one incident that comes up time and time again. Mm-hmm. We were living in Georgia. One of my sons had broke his leg in a surfing accident. I drove down to be with him. She was in North Carolina. I got a call for a job interview. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? She says, my mom says, I pointed because she's watching.
Doesn't know what's going on.
Sometimes that's okay.
Doesn't know we're talking about her.
Don't miss. Oh, yeah, they do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, they can catch on to that real quick. Okay. Sometimes it's not true, but sometimes it is. But anyway, so I said, Mom, I just don't know what to do. I'm here with I don't know if we can use names.
Brandon.
I
have a family.
I have Montana, Brandon, and Ryan. So anyway, I said, I don't know what to do. I don't want to leave Brandon, and I got this job interview. She said, well, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. You're going to get in that car, and you're going to go to the job interview, and I'm going to come and take care of Brandon. And she came and took care of Brandon and then, let me go to the job interview, and I got the job with Happpppppppyyyy County School Systems, and the rest was history.
So she's taking care of you for such good.
In a minute.
No, me too. Yeah. She always took the bet. Like, and that's the thing that I think that's what's the most heartbreaking thing for me, especially moving. She doesn't even know, like, every time it's like, why California, right. It breaks my heart having those conversations, because just growing up, seeing how independent and how we would always joke, like, you never sit down, like, you do everything for everyone. And like, it's just sad, but I'm glad that you're doing it.
Well, let me tell you, besides it being, they call it the long goodbye for a reason. You are mourning them constantly, because I had a cell phone. I had 2 cell phones, a Florida cell phone and a Georgia cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
So they could get a hold of me anytime they want. I mean, the minute something happened, bam, I want to call my mom when my dad passed. Usually it was my dad and then my mom, because she did allow me to be a daddy's girl. Mm-hmm. And to not have that, or to need, and every now and then you'll get a glimpse of, where she can help you or give an opinion or counsel you or whatever, but that's gone.
Yeah.
That is no more. You can't get help in that area anymore.
No, yeah. I would call her all through college and be like crying basically, or like stressed, and she would just talk me through all that.
Oh, had a
answer and a saying for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And that you miss that.
Let go and let God.
Yeah. Have a blessed day. She'll tell you go F yourself and then have a blessed day.
It's the best part.
But it just you can't get advice anymore. And she was the first, no matter what, she would be the first person I called. Just like when my dad had cancer. I don't know if you remember this, but it was fixing to be spring break. We were leaving Hazel Grove Elementary, and I said, Montana, I have a feeling that I got to call my mom. And
oh, yeah.
And we usually, me and Montana would talk, and I said, but I just got to call her. And she is bawling. And I'm like, what the heck? She said, they told me that your dad has cancer, and I just don't know what to do. That's how connected that we were.
No, yeah.
That something was up. And for my mom to cry, that's like a man crying when my mama cries.
I've never seen her show any emotion except anger.
Yeah. And that, which is wild.
Which takes a lot to get.
Yeah, which is wild that she picks up on if I'm sad. But she's always said, you're your daddy. You are your father's daughter, because she knew I got my heart, my feelings, my emotions, and I got to keep this disease, you got to keep those in check, or you can go down real quick.
Yeah, I do sometimes wonder, because we learned a lot about Alzheimer's in neuroscience and in a lot of my psychology classes because it's so new,
Right.
And not so new, but like there's just not a lot done on it. And I remember something about like suppressed emotions, and I do sometimes wonder, like, I think she was going through stuff, but never, especially her generation, like never talked about anything. Like, because I think she had sadness, like, especially after Jiddu died. There was sadness, but she never wanted to process it.
She never wanted to process it, and she never wanted to be. I mean, my mom, this was her husband for all, they were just short of 50 years of marriage. And he dies, and she can't even mourn him because we were all mourning so bad. She literally drove in the procession of the funeral. So I don't think I think she was in shock too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure they did not talk about anything. You knew that it was just an underlying thing. It was never said, don't talk about it, but you knew there was an underlying thing that you just don't, anything out of the house you don't talk about.
That generation, yes, but then you add the level of the Syrian, immigrant parents. Like, nobody talked about anything. Her family upbringing is wild. I wish I could have a conversation. I did get to interview her. That one thing I am grateful for, and I wish I could find it in my college paper, because it was like my senior seminar, and that was when she was still pretty much here, you know? Like, it's been it's been a progression. So like, it was my college senior paper, and it was like, interview someone, you know, in your family that you really, and I interviewed her. I wish I could find the paper, because she did talk a little bit about her childhood, but I'm like, things were so different for her growing up and stuff.
I feel like your graduation was the last big thing that she was totally there for.
I agree, and it makes me really glad that was it, because she helped me through that process so much. So much. And you too.
Girl,
you were, I was going to get that degree, whether it was for you or for me. Shout out to you for getting the degree, me for getting the degree for you, and I'm not even using it.
But they can never take it from you.
They can never take it from me, and I do use the communication part. So
that's right. And you know, Montana,
oh God,
life is so short, as we know, and those years, although you begrudgingly, I do think that it taught you to persevere, to keep trudging along no matter what.
It taught me resilience, and it did feel good to finish something, even though I wanted to quit, and I did quit for like a little bit, not by choice. No, you knew it was when all that was going on. Remember, I had to quit.
Well, what did I not know? That you took out student loans? I didn't know something.
Oh, when I lost my hope.
Oh yeah. That's what it was.
But then shout out to Dad for making us poor, because then I got a grant.
See, Satan thinks he works it all together to hurt us, and God works it all together for our good.
Yep.
So
on that note, though, she grew up differently, and I think that you and I have had so many healing conversations. I think that this is hard. The long goodbye of it all is really hard. Like, they're gone, but they're still here, and so you're like mourning someone that it's just like a mind. It's so hard. But I do feel like the process has been healing for you, because you've opened up to me. You talked in the beginning about like generational things I have dealt with that I'm like, why am I dealing with this? You have opened up to me about it, about how you were raised. And I'm like, oh, so this has been going on. No one's just wanted to talk about it.
No, and I think that's a crying shame that, like, especially for believers, I don't care what religion or church or whatever. There is one God and one Bible. And if we could teach those sins and curses away and just pray and fight, I mean, it really is true. And each generation, they get worse. And that's where my heart is for my family. And I have tried, people sometimes will even look at you and say, well, so you've given up on them. No, my best helping of God got us right here. Right here. So he doesn't need my help. He needs my prayers, and he needs me to let go and release. And like you said, let go and let God. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
And especially when it's not happening on the time you're like, okay, I've been praying for this for years. It's time. Well, it's obviously not, because he's not late. He's not early. He's perfect timing.
Yes, that is true. But like, how have you healed through this process? Some of those things that you had, like the childhood stuff we talked about, like, and the self, like, cause the self things.
The criticalness of it.
Yeah.
She did want perfection from me. I was the only one that did not look Arabic. I took after daddy.
You look like a white girl.
Yes. And I think that was somewhat hard for her to a degree, which is funny because later on my cousins were like, we wanted to look like you. And then I told them
You
I
wanted to look more
like
Arabic.
them.
Yeah.
I don't think that's totally where it stemmed from. I think she has talked about her weight and stuff throughout. I never remember her not being on some type of diet. And I think she just maybe didn't even know that she was seeking perfection, but she wanted perfection. And the more you try, the more it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Perfection is not real.
It's not.
So we got to let that go.
Yeah.
Cause
And I think it has. And I think that when she does tell me, like, I cook her recipes and she'll say, gosh, I haven't had a bad meal. And I'm like, well, they're your recipes. Oh, I must have been a good teacher. So it's funny now.
Yeah.
It's not critical. She's complimentary more.
Yeah.
But
she's still, the one thing she do remember is if people are fat.
Yep. Thanks for the bulimic. Which she will never know, and I'm glad.
About that?
Yeah, I am. I think that would devastate her or just really, but it was really.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't struggle with one that we never knew about.
Could be.
Because remember we were talking that like long time ago about a great grandma that had some sort of. I never met the great grandma.
Yes, Big Sittu was, and we don't call them big because they're big.
It's just great.
Great is big, and little is just plain grandma. Yes, very much so.
So it makes me think that it started there. It doesn't skip, So right. I think she had her own things that just, we all got our own version of it.
Right.
And it's our job to fix it. And I'm proud of you because we don't have to go into that because I'm sure you don't want to talk about it. But the coping skills you've learned from that thing, even now, it gives me hope that, yes, you are later in life. But the other day when you called me, you were like, I was so upset. I almost made myself throw up, but I called my friend. And I was like, that was beautiful to me. Like, I literally even, like, praised you to my friend group because we all have friends that struggle with it. And I was like, it made me really happy that, like, even at an older age, like, you're still able to make change and positive change in your life.
Oh, yeah. Well, just telling, Tim about it. That was and then, well, you caught me. You said.
Yeah, because I would always hear you throwing up.
You think I don't know what you're doing, but I know what you're doing, and you need to stop it. And that struck something in me. Like,
yeah, my room was underneath your bathroom. I don't think you realized I could hear.
Well, there you go. So, and then when I did call, that is the first time, like, I admitted it to them. And then when I said, I don't want to do it, but I want to do it. Like, I don't, and I do. And I did, and I told her, I said, probably the real reason that I'm telling you this is I didn't eat enough to do it. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I'm proud of you for not, and I'm proud of you for even talking about it because, like, at the beginning when I said, like, I'm protective over my family, I don't think it comes from a place of shame, but I think before it did. Like, now I think it comes from a place of we've come through so much together. Like, you guys I share a lot of my life with the world. Like, you guys are all that I have. That's me. And so I like to protect it in that way. But I think before it was a lot of shame. And I think we carried a lot of shame that wasn't ours to carry. We were carrying the shame of, things that were going on.
And I know I always bring it back to Jesus, but I have to.
This is the holiest podcast we've had in a while.
Well, good. Thank you, Jesus.
Anyway, I let people start cussing.
Well, I do cuss a little, but I do love Jesus. And Pastor Jensen did a sermon on good cussers. Now, granted, he doesn't want us to cuss, but it was funny.
Our family is good cussers.
That's what I said. I said, Jensen, are you in this house? No. But anyway, the church should be a hospital. So many people are church hurt that's why we subside in it. Now, I don't think you should use a church, but you should be able to talk freely, to have people pray and stop this unspoken stuff. Don't be ashamed. Be real. Jesus ate with people like our family. I mean, he loves everybody, but he would not hesitate to come to my house. He would not hesitate to pray for my son. Come on now.
He would be over here lit with us.
he would be, well, sometimes I'm thinking, I tell him all the time, Jesus, God, you wired me this way, fix the wiring. But
there's nothing wrong with the wiring. But what I'm saying is the shame. I don't think it was our shame. I think we just came from Florida. And then we came to that small town. People weren't as accepting of a family like us that had, issues. Or like every family has issues. Ours just were out there.
Well, that was my fault because I felt like.
And that caused us to have, or at least me, I was like, oh, something's wrong with my family, my whatever. Well,
again, that unspoken, I did love that unspoken until God laid it on my heart. You have a son in trouble. You need to speak his name and you need to tell them women to pray, whatever. That was not my best choice, but it was right because it led me to a different church.
Yeah.
And the first sermon, this is how funny God is. The first sermon that I ever heard Jensen Franklin preach was being drunk in the Holy Spirit and being drunk in the bottle. And I said, okay.
There was a lot of similarities. I remember that sermon too.
I'm like, this man either is one, has one, or knows one. And I've never left.
We know a couple.
We do. And you know what, Montana? The shame is what Satan loves. And he's very patient with it. You can think you overcome it. And then he'll just sit back and wait. And that's what people don't realize. We got to get real.
We got to get real.
Got to get real.
Look at you, Real Talk Tam.
Real talk. Well, we can't take that. That's Real Talk Tim.
No.
I do not have the right.
You're enjoying this way too much. But when we had to cut, I just want everyone to know, when we had to cut, she goes, oh, Montana, we could do a podcast like the Kelsey brothers. I'll be on top. You be
on bottom. We're Swifties.
We did grow up listening
we sure did.
You worked at every elementary school I ever went to because you're a stalker. And every morning we would listen to Taylor Swift on the way there.
And I do have, can I tell the cute Taylor Swift about when Zeke got bit by the dog?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing would calm him down, but we turned on a Taylor Swift song.
Back to December.
Yes, in December. Go figure. And he was calm until we got him to the hospital.
He loved Taylor Swift. He loved that song. We were Swifties.
Don't say we're.
We are Swifties. Well, they don't. They think it's cool to hate her now. They think it's cool to hate everything.
Well, that's just their age.
Yes, but.
Oh, this has been great, sweetie.
I've had a lot of fun.
I have too.
I think you have the biggest heart of anyone I know, and they don't make women like you. And you have been through a lot, and we've only just touched the surface. We'll wait to tell the full story when we have more followers.
Okay. Come on and follow.
How has this first year been with me gone? We'll take it off the heavy stuff.
Well, and this is where how God wired me is beneficial to me. Okay. I sometimes just live in my own world. Like, I don't think about it constantly. I like to know when you're home safe. I like to know what you're doing, but I can't, even
You had to let go of some of that control.
I did, because because you are so independent in that area where you just fly by the seat of your pants, go here, go, you'll go at a drop of a hat, where I've got to plan for a year before I go for a short weekend.
But I still don't even feel like I'm fly by the seat of my pants. Like, I feel like I still have to have a plan. Like, there's things I see in you that like annoy me. I love you. That annoy me that I do. And I'm like, God, this is where it came from.
You're growing into that, but you weren't like that. I can see a lot of your different choices to where I think that has helped me not worry, but I can't think about it long term. I can't think of Brandon and them long term because it breaks my heart. I just, I don't get to see them like I would like to, every year I say, this is my year,
You got to sit someone sick. You'll have
but it is hard because we were raised you know, nobody in my family moved away.
Yeah.
And I had
you were the first to move away.
Yeah. And yes. And I had a friend tell me one time, then you've done your job. She called me Duran. She's like, Duran, you've done your job. You've raised kids that can go out there on their own and make it. But you know, it is hard. And she could be able to go fly to see yours all the time. And some things have happened in her life to where she can't. She's like, wow, you know, I've always said not until I walk in your shoes, but it is harder when you can't go see them like you would like to.
Yeah.
But I don't ever waller in that, because you are where you want to be, or God wants you to be. Brandon and Elizabeth are where God wants them to be. And they are they don't make me feel bad or judge me. They know my situation, and they're loving.
Yeah. And I do think the thing about this whole situation that does make me sad is that I do think that you'll be able to travel more and do more eventually. Like I know like that, like I want you to come visit so bad, but I also like know the situation now. So it like makes it like, yes, I wish you were there, like could able to come like now, but it's like I know it will be in the right time when it's supposed to come, because I want you to enjoy this season that you're in right now.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, my brother was going to come and help me, and then he had health issues, and I was looking forward to that, because I think if he and I could have been a tag team, it wouldn't have been all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, you know, I had a friend, Joy, she's been in the Word like her whole life, and she said sometimes she looks at God and says, really, is this it? Because she's lost her mom and dad, and they have a special needs son who is an adult, and she takes care of him. She does have her sister to help her a little bit, but it's tough sometimes, because like I said, I thought I was going to go then my other brother passed away, and then Kip got sick, and then, you know, Chris went to heaven, and then this, you know, so it just seems like, and I told Brandon that, you know, this is my year, 2024, I'm going to be there. So.
Yeah. I think it will happen. I think you just, especially now with the work situation and everything, like it is a blessing to get old too. Like it is a blessing to be able to get old and to have people that love you, and
because a lot of people don't get to.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't get to pay it back. And I do feel like I'm paying her back. And she's not demanding most days, but it's hard because, and I want to go back to like the people that I follow. Like, you've got to be real careful with that, because like my mom's like the one I told you. And then the other lady still has like some, like she still likes to have fun and laugh, and but she's in a later stage. And then the other lady, you know, she dances with her daughter, all that, you know, and you got to be real careful. Like, gosh, why can't mine be that way? Well, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a different, you know, she likes when I cook. She likes when we go to the store. She likes when I, you know, do different things, but it's not, you can get sad about that. Like, wow, my mom's not there. She's already here or there. And you cannot compare.
Yeah, no, especially because it is such a complex disease and there's not that much research on it, and everyone has different side effects. It affects everyone differently. So like you can't compare your journey, but I don't think enough people are talking about it. Well, it's been getting talked about more, I feel like, in the past few years, because more and more, like, I guess it's affecting celebrities now. So everyone's talking about it, like,
and that's just the way of the world, you know, but I will say this, and people like me, I live in Georgia. Her homestead is in Florida. I have to take her back so much, and I can't get help for either state because I don't live there and she doesn't live here. And so we need to change some things, because the caregiver, the bread person, the Social Security person, you can't, you know, I have to buy her potty chair. I have to buy her.
It should be something federal.
It should, but she can't lose her homestead. So now we're trying to sell her house in Florida. So all of that said, we say we want to take care of our elder generation, but do we? Because there's not a lot of resources out there unless you are in the same state.
No, I know.
And I can't believe that I'm the only person in the world that lives in a different state than my mother. And that's hard on the caregiver too, because they don't get confused when it's time to go back, but they have to stay so much time in both places and more time there than here, or she loses all of that. So that should be changed. It should. She's 82 years old. She's paid her dues.
Mom, you need to go to Washington.
I wish I could. I do. You know, it's
no, I've been watching Paris Hilton's show, and she.
Lord have mercy.
No, I've been watching Paris Hilton's show, and she went through that thing at her boarding school. Now she's making reform on boarding schools. So, I
just think it's so much.
I'm comparing you to Paris Hilton. Come on.
Yeah, girl. And let me tell you this, and I'm not saying all of them. I am not. But I've had a lot of people say, you keep her at home as long as you can because it's not pretty out there. And I'm sure they're understaffed. They're money, this, that, and the third. I don't know, but I'm not going to have that on me. And God knows my heart. I'm really and truly in this season of my life standing on God's promises.
Okay, so you were the first podcast of 2024, and this was really fun. I don't know why I was nervous.
I don't either. I'm the New Year's Eve baby.
Yes, you are. It's kind of funny because we went to the mall yesterday, and I asked you in the car, I was like, you're my first one of 2024, and you go, what if I bomb?
Well, you never know. You never know.
Oh, are you glad I'm not doing comedy really anymore?
It's not that I'm not glad.
But be honest, you hated when I was doing comedy regularly.
But I feel like you were here for a deeper purpose. And I get that comedy goes hand in hand. I do. But I'm telling you, you are here for something big. Like,
well, you're my mom.
No. Okay. Well, that's true. But I know your heart. I know your story. I know what you've been through. You are the least judgmental person I know. I mean, we all have a little bit of judgment, but you really do take people life at face value for the most part. I mean, we can't ever do anything perfectly because nothing's perfect down here. The last perfect person they put on a cross. But I'm telling you, for your heart, you can be the speaker that you want to be and throw a little humor in there. That scene, yes, you can save people, but I'm telling you, Montana, people are drawn to you.
No, I know. Trust me, I learned all about the dark side this year of comedy.
Well, there you go.
I learned things I wish I didn't know.
You're a light, and I've told you that your whole life. I've told all of
my
kids you have a purpose, and that was before I even knew God. I knew that He gave y'all. I told Brandon what his is. I told you what yours is, and I told Ryan what his is, and I believe that with my whole heart.
I love you, and thank you for that.
I love you too.
Because I just knew that I wanted to speak, but comedy was going to be the vehicle to get me there.
Amen.
Because it was a good, learned how to talk publicly and do it in the most vulnerable way. So, I feel like if you can go do comedy, you can do anything.
That's right.
So
that's huge.
Yes, I did stop doing it, but I'm still going to speak. It's just a different environment.
That's right.
Anything else you want to say? What else?
Just that I appreciate this. It was way different than I thought. And once you, again,
what did you think?
You eased me into it. I thought I might stumble or, like you say, get in my head, try to think it through. But before you prayed, I prayed, and God just spoke through us.
You have so much wisdom, Mom. You've been through so much. That's why literally, like you said with your mom, whenever something happens, if I'm in the grocery store, if I'm anywhere, I'm like, I got to call my mom. You're the first person I want to talk to because you are a light. You have taught me how to have joy through the crappiest situations in life, and to just keep the joy, to keep it light, to keep it fun, even when you're going through hell. So I appreciate you for teaching me that.
And I do believe, in our craziness, chaos, whatever, this life, we can, I wanted to say batshit crazy. I mean, we can
Mom, you've been talking about Jesus
we
this
can,
whole
we
time.
can, we can.
I don't cuss on my podcast because I'm like, my mommy's going to listen. And then you're just going to drop a shit.
I cuss a little. I said I cuss a little. I did say I love Jesus, but I cuss a little. But I'm working on it. But anyway, we do get it out there and we get over it and we stick together. I mean, really.
Yeah.
And my dad told me one time, and my dad knew the Bible. I didn't know that he did until latter part of his life, but because he was raised up in church. But he said, you know, there must be something to this God thing, because you get awfully knocked around, but you always get back up. And that was really before I immersed myself in it. Like I was new, raw to it. So I do believe that. And I do believe that he gave us emotions for a reason. And people that judge Christians a lot for their emotions, but we do snap out of it, and God is there and he uses it all for our good.
Yes, he does.
Every step of the way, he orders our step.
He does. Oh, this is the last question I was going to ask.
Okay.
So since you are the first podcast of 2024, do you have any goals for 2024? And like, what do you want this next year to be? Because I know it'll probably be, you're still getting your footing, not working.
Well, that's it. And I want to trust more, like truly trust, have that peace and comfort that only comes from him, to just have that fearless faith, just unwavering.
Yes, Mom.
Yes, that was, I am passionate to get back. I have backslid in my word, but I talk to him a lot. I listen to people a lot. I find it in this season, it's been really hard to read and comprehend. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I want to get back into the book.
Yeah. I've been here for a week. You got your hands full. Yeah. So just give yourself grace.
And I do think he does. And I think that's why he has come to me. I'm telling you what, it's your word. It has shook me at times. And I'm like, okay, God, you're giving me that grace and that mercy.
Yeah.
You know that he knows in my heart I want to do that. And I do feel like I fail him in that area. I want to be.
You just got to let go.
Yep.
You just got to let go. That's weird. I've been working on that too, because I tend to just worry about everything instead of just trust. Like everything up until now has always worked out. So like, why would it stop working out now?
And a lot of I've been reading, worry is nothing. It's like a slap in his face. It's
pride. I saw that thing that you sent me.
Yeah. And so I'm just trying to love the storm. Praise him in the storm. Just be the same, whether it's good, bad, ugly, whatever. Just whatever it is, be the same.
Okay. Final question.
Yeah.
For real. What would you say to someone who is, maybe just starting out on their Alzheimer's journey? Like a loved one got it. They're just starting out on the journey. Like, what advice would you give to someone going through what you're going through right now?
One, a good doctor. My mom has a great doctor. I love him. He's patient with me, with her. I can call him in a drop of a hat. This one day, he knew I was struggling. He had somebody who helps call, get your small group. And like I said, don't get mad at people that have money and can do things bigger and better than you, because they're sharing their advice with you, and take it. But I'm going to tell you, it's hard. You're going to have to follow more than one person, because none of these people are the same. And you can take bits and pieces from each one. And I'm telling you, it will make your life better. It will help you. I was so raw, just devastated. It was crazy. And now if I get bad, and you and like the people that you do and follow them, so you're not going to like them all. I even follow people that have children with Sanfilippo syndrome, because it's the emotions. I'm telling you, you don't feed off of it. We look for the end of it, the cure, and the living with it. Yes.
You seem to have, I know from when I was living here last year to now, like there was still some like delusion, I guess, on your end, but like you seem to have a lot more acceptance now.
because in the beginning stages, you will see glimpses of very clarity stuff. And then the next day you will not. And then you
5 minutes later.
Yeah, whatever. And it plays tricks on you because you're like, well, maybe it's age. Maybe don't believe it. Get them tested, get them on the meds. I am a firm believer in that because I believe she would either be bedridden or dead if we were not on the meds. And she does not take a lot. Don't let people just push them, because there's not a lot out there, first of all. Oh, and let me just touch on that.
Touch on it.
There's a lot of experimental stuff and or approved stuff, but they say, well, you know, she's too far gone, or who cares? Try it.
Yeah.
But the ones that she has have, you know, like I said, and my doctor, God bless him, he knew that a year was too much for me to wait. We go every 6 months because it just helps me. He reassures me. He gives me pointers. And like I said, you've got to have an excellent support group. You do. Because it can make you cray. I don't like that word, crazy.
A little cray. No, I think you are going a little cray. The way you were acting at the store.
Well, because I was walking so fast because everything is done at such a slow pace.
No, you're
waiting, and
I have longer legs than you. You're zooming past me. You're like, well, I don't have to go slow anymore. I'm like, well, I'm walking fast. How are you walking? How are you running?
Like
I told you need to start running. You have so much built up in you.
I told you I have to breathe and
be
say
a runner.
Sorry for being that way, but it felt good.
You were sprinting through the mall.
And it felt good.
Okay.
So anyway.
Well, I love you. I'm proud of you. I think you're doing an amazing job.
And I appreciate that. And I love you, and keep doing and being you.
You know, love you, mean it comes from you.
Yes.
That's how I end every podcast.
All right. Love you, mean it.
Okay. Love you, mean it. Bye.
Bye.